And welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you're here. We have an amazing topic for you today, an amazing guest. Dr. Michael Cotton is our guest. So I just want to thank you so much again. It's always so appreciative to know that you're out there and to share this great information that is so life-changing. Dr. Michael Cotton is an evolutionary theorist and the founder of Higher Brain Living. So this is like a revolutionary new procedure where you actually kind of move energy from the lower reptilian brain to the higher brain, and it's a game changer and a stress reducer, and he's going to tell us all about it. We're going to have a demonstration in a few minutes. Dr. Cotton, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sheila. Glad to be here.
So this is really interesting. It's just, I find it fascinating. So just in a nutshell, what happened to you in your 20s? You had like a life-altering change.
Yeah, well, I had a very stressful childhood, and I have no idea why. I had good parents and a good home, and everything seemed okay on the outside, but I was stressed out and fearful on the inside. I developed chronic headaches. I ended up going to high school, barely getting through high school. I went to college. I got thrown out of college with a .57 GPA. I was academically ineligible. I started taking minimum wage jobs with really no purpose or no direction whatsoever in my life. And at one of at my latest job at the time, I was standing in a steel and aluminum fabrication department, covered in grease from my head to my toe, with no clue what I was going to do with my life. And it was as if just all of a sudden a light turned on inside of me. I felt a surge of energy in me. And it was like I could take this view from 50,000 feet, and I saw my whole life leading up to that moment. And I just all of a sudden had this feeling of confidence and empowerment, just this surge of energy. And I knew at that moment my life was going to change. And I left work. I ended up going re-enrolling in a college that would take me. I started taking twice the normal college load, 32 credit hours a semester in physics and chemistry and organic chemistry and biology. And I ended up getting into a professional school where I become a doctor of chiropractic. I did that program, a 4-year postgraduate doctoral program. I did that accelerated in 3 years, graduated on the National Dean's List with honors. And I say this because that had not been my history.
Right.
But something inside of me changed.
Just
and
that fast.
That fast. And that's what put me on this path and got me very, very curious about what was going on with human transformation and human potential.
Yeah, what happened? So tell us about what is the reptilian brain and the higher brain?
Well, what I discovered in my now nearly 3-decade-long study of human potential and why that happened to me, what I know now is that the missing link in most personal growth and personal development is that the brain doesn't change. And there's a higher evolved part of our brain, specifically called the prefrontal cortex. And that part of the brain is the part of the brain, again, it's the newest part of us, the newest emergence in our evolution. And that part of the brain is where we can have the experience of purpose, of passion, of gratitude, of joy. It's the part of the brain that can project goals, can see where we want to go, and then take the steps necessary to get there. And so we have this part of the brain. In fact, the researcher, brain researcher Paul MacLean refers to these frontal lobes in this prefrontal cortex as the angel lobes because of those high-end human capacities. The challenge is, Sheila, is that what else we have as humans is this old lower primitive brain.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, most people can relate to that. That old lower primitive brain, it is hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years old. It's not changed in the species in that long of a period of time. And so it's a very resilient structure. And its job is to keep you safe in a predator-rich environment. And what the research tells us is that that lower brain continues to relate us to our world, all of it below the conscious threshold. And so when we're locked into that lower brain stress, which is where anxiety and stress comes from, is that lower brain, all it cares about is keeping you safe from a tiger. It doesn't care about you fulfilling your potential or finding your purpose or creating an extraordinary life. It just wants to keep you safe. And so we stay locked in that lower primitive brain, and that doesn't let the energy move up into the highest, most evolved part of the brain, which is where our new potential is. So we're at this interesting point, I believe, in our evolution, where we've emerged this new potential. And I mean literally, not as a metaphor. The structure's there, the architecture's there, but the function isn't there.
Got it.
It's not energized, it's not fully metabolized. And so we're kind of between these points with that lower brain pulling us down, and it cycles us into our old life over and over and over again. Because it wants to create sameness, because to the lower brain, sameness equals safety. Okay, and so
totally makes sense.
Transformation doesn't happen. True and lasting transformation doesn't happen until energy gets into the higher brain.
Wow. So let me ask you this. So sometimes though we have like these aha moments, or we'll go to a seminar, or just like, oh my God, and I think we get glimpses of that higher brain, but then we go back to the,
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So how does this work different than...
Well, okay, so now, and you're right about that, and I sometimes will have people close their eyes and imagine the very best day of their life, the most incredible day they can ever remember. And then what I tell them is, you had energy in the prefrontal cortex at that time, okay? So we get little taste of it, but we're not able to create a center of gravity shift and live from that place. And so what the Higher Brain Living program does is create a shift of energy from the lower brain to the higher brain. And this is how it works. So we know that we have this untapped higher part of our brain. But what else I'm sure you know and your listeners know is that there's an untapped energy source in the body as well. See, I went on a 3-decade search studying 5,000-year history of human potential and human growth and human evolution and all these different disciplines and wisdom traditions. And what I found is that consistently they reported this latent energy associated with certain pathways in the body. And that energy has been called everything from prana to chi to ki to kundalini to subtle energy. You've heard these terms, right? It's different names for a latent energy source in the body. Well, there's also pathways that have been given many names, from Nardi points in yoga to chakras and to meridians in traditional Chinese medicine. The point is there's a latent energy source in the body and specific pathways that are associated with that. What we've done with Higher Brain Living is create a very specific protocol. This very specific protocol cues these pathways with touch in just the right way. Okay, with just the right amount of pressure, and the key is the sequencing that we do this in. And what happens is that we now know from looking at this scientifically is that there's what's called a piezoelectric effect in these pathways, which means they release energy. And the way we've patterned this out, we've in effect cracked the code in these ancient pathways of this ancient energy. And when we cue it in the right way, and just these right contacts and these right sequence, that release of energy moves through the body into the prefrontal cortex of the brain. And
so then what happens? We're going to have a demonstration in just about 2 minutes. So then what happens once the energy's in the higher brain?
Well, that's the most amazing part of the whole thing. Once the energy gets into the higher brain, your higher brain is starting to come online. Okay, this is a 22-step program, 45-minute long sessions in a facilitator's office. And each session they cue these pathways, energy moves into the higher brain. What happens next is that your higher brain starts to create its own feedback mechanism. It has a potential in there that's untapped. And so you feel this amazing breath start to expand in your body. Not like you're taking the breath, Sheila, like you're being breathed. Something is breathing you. It feels like every cell in your body is breathing, like it's moving from tip to toe in a wave in your body. And what that is a feedback mechanism your higher brain is using to cycle this breath to create metabolism increases in itself. And as that continues to progress, a larger wave engages in the body that's releasing stress, that's dumping the junk out of the lower brain, further allowing energy to build in the... it's mind-blowing. We're going to see it in just a second.
I can't wait to see it. So, and what was I going to say? Oh, geez, God. I'm in my lower brain right now. So we're going to take a look at this, but if you actually teach this program, so higherlivingbrain.com.
Higher Brain Living.
I'm sorry, higherbrainliving.com. So you can go there and you can find out about Dr. Cotton's program, 22-step program. So we have to wrap it up now, but I can't wait to see it. We're going to have a demonstration right now. So we'll be right back with the demonstration.
I'm going to do a very brief Higher Brain Living demonstration with Lizzie. Are you ready, Lizzie?
Yes, I am.
Could you lay face down on the table, please? So the higher untapped part of the brain is latent potential. There's dormant energy within the human body, and we're going to cue these pathways that releases this energy that moves up to the higher brain, and you're going to see this amazing salutogenic response in her body as her brain starts to self-engage. You see the breath expand in her body almost immediately. That's a salutogenic breath. You can even hear it. If you can hear it on the camera, it's that expansion of breath is a salutogenic breath. Once energy builds in her higher brain, it creates its own feedback, bringing energy up into itself. And you see a larger wave start to engage. Now her brain is dissipating all of the junk out of that lower brain, clearing those pathways out, and that energy is continuing to build in her higher brain. This is all spontaneous. This happens in every client that goes through the Higher Brain Living program, and I can even teach others to do it and become licensed facilitators. And what she's feeling right now is a sense of joy, of empowerment, of purpose. All of those things is part of the higher brain, an elevation of consciousness. She's totally aware that it's happening, but she's not making it happen. Say hi, Lizzie.
Hi.
She's not in a trance or she's not hypnotized. In fact, it's just the opposite of that. She's very aware because she's in the part of the brain that has advanced consciousness. Very gentle contact in a very specific sequence, creating a piezoelectric release of energy moving to her higher brain. And now that dormant evolutionary potential is waking up in there, creating its own feedback mechanism. And she'll be able to take that through this 22-step program and apply it to all areas of her life. Lizzie could even stop this movement if she wanted to, but the internal experiences, it just feels amazing. These sessions are usually 45 minutes long. And with the 22-step program are 22 sessions. And with each of those 22 sessions is a specific step that's applied through the Higher Brain Living Guidebook to bring that higher brain energy to your life. And this creates real and lasting transformation. And you hear the giggling now. That's very common as clients receive sessions because joy is part of the experience in that higher brain. The stress has cleared out of her body, energy's built in the evolutionary part of the brain, And the experience of joy is very, very common. It's very common to laugh and giggle on the table. Untapped potential in the higher brain. That's what happens when it starts to wake up, come online, and create its own feedback. That's amazing, Lizzie. I'm going to have you sit up, and I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about your experience. That was wonderful.
That was amazing.
Would you mind sharing just some of the benefits that you've had through this Higher Brain Living program?
This is my third session, and within my first session, I'd always had night blindness. I was able to see on the freeways at night clearly. I was like, oh my gosh, it's bright, it's lit, I can see. After just what we just did right here, I feel energy surging through my body. I feel euphoric, at peace, clear thoughts, very grounded within my physical body, but very elevated and high energy, but calm and balanced. It's a good balance. I've also noticed that no procrastination anymore. When I think of going and doing something, I go and do it. I don't put it off for another day. Just amazing how you can feel everything just start to shift and change within your life. Everything becomes more effortless, more easy. Life just becomes really pleasant and joyful, and everything just starts to flow. Problems arise, but the solution to the problem just instantly manifests, and you go and take action, and makes life much more peaceful and flowing.
That's amazing, Lizzie. Thank you for volunteering to demonstrate, and thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Dr. Michael Cotton, thank you. I want to sit fire. I want to get some of that yummy juice, that energy, that higher brain. Wow, that is amazing. So again, you guys, I'm just, woo! It feels so good just to be around you. Man.
That's true.
Feel the energy shift?
Yeah, yeah, wow. So if you'd like to find out more about Higher Brain Living, please go to higherbrainliving.com if you're interested in becoming a facilitator or, becoming a, you have facilitators around the country, right?
Yes, all around the country.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I hope maybe I can get a little taste of this maybe after the show. So, okay. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next week.